My name is Jonathan Truss, I'm a wildlife artist, and for years I've travelled the world looking for my subject matter. Now today I've come to Knepp Castle. I'm really excited about this because I'm after a red deer. I want to paint a red stag. Now there's no better place to see a red stag than a Knepp Castle in its natural environment, so I'm very privileged to be here and very excited.
So today we're going to go around in this vehicle, which is a all-terrain vehicle, and we're going to have a really good look in the scrub and also in the parkland as well to see if we can find the red deer stags. So they blend in quite well at this time of year because they sort of blend in with their autumn colours, so it's a little bit tricky, but we're going to give it a really good go. I've never taken an artist on a tour before, so I'm very excited to see what Jonathan comes up with.
Well, we're hoping to see some stags this morning, but just pulled over and seen these old English cattle, and they've got a herd of about 350 here, so might also take full advantage. We're getting this back end of a cow at the moment, not very exciting, but there's huge horns. I'm just making a very, very quick sketch here. Do you know, I've been to Africa many times, and this feels just like the Masai Mara on a very, very cold morning, I have to say. Except the wildebeest are slightly more skittish. But look, this is all about really looking at your animal, and doing this, you really study it, and it's a great way to learn about you know, what it really looks like. So when I get back to the studio and I look at these, I remember what I've seen. It's worth the climb, Penny. Oh, thank you, Penny, for bringing me up to your tree house.
Absolute pleasure.
What a view, eh?
The reason I brought you up here, Jonathan, is because it's a fantastic point to look out over the rewilding project here. You just have to imagine just 18 years ago, this was all in intensive arable, and so this would have been a field of wheat.
That's incredible, isn't it? That's amazing.
Just a few years ago.
And look, it's just come back to this.
It's
just leave it alone. And
yeah, so we've left it alone, but we've got herbivores in here. So we've got those large herbivores like the cows that we've seen this morning, the red deer,
of course, the
fallow deer. We've got the Tamworth pigs,
amazing,
and also some Exmoor ponies. And the idea behind all of these animals is that they are proxies for their ancestors that would have been in this landscape.
Is it a case of build it and they will come? You know, in that you don't have to introduce all the wildlife. Is this what happens?
Absolutely. So we've basically introduced the keystone species that are doing all the hard work managing the habitat for us, and then everything else that we can hear around us, the insects and the birds, they've all turned up naturally. They have turned up to this amazing habitat that's kind of been created for them.
So what's going on? Is this like it's like a pig superhighway?
I know, we're really lucky to stumble across these guys this morning. As you can see, they're busy feeding. These pigs are always feeding, and they're one of our movers and shakers here. They're one of our keystone species.
Which species are these?
This is the Tamworth pig.
Okay.
And they're here in lieu of the wild boar. So they're an Iron Age breed, and they do exactly the same kind of feeding actions as a wild boar would do. So you can see here they're doing a bit of grazing today. They're sort of nibbling away on some of the
youngsters, aren't they? They look quite small.
These are piglets, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And we've got some so bigger sows as well. Some of them can get up to about 230 kilos, so they're quite a big beast.
They're quite tame, aren't they?
They don't mind us too much. They're quite chilled out.
Yeah.
But they do this thing called rootling, where they use their snout to plough along in the soil, and
they're
it's
rootling
good
now, aren't they?
when it's slightly wet. You know, they can really get their nose in there, and they're looking for roots and tubers and grubs and things like that to eat that are under the soil.
Is that four?
I think 4 stags there, yeah. Fantastic.
I don't want to get that one on the right, that's the big guy. Staying really still, it's quite handy. Now, what I do is just sketch this out for now, and then just very roughly. But really, this is just about putting some marks, some pencil marks down. Obviously, with these antlers, they're quite tricky actually, quite tricky. It's all pretty rough to start with. When I'm in the studio, I'll be able to tidy the whole thing up. This is just right in here for me. It's a good environment for me to work. It's quite quiet, and I got the TV on if I want to. I've got the radio on, and I'm quite happy sat here. And do you know what? Working when it's raining like it is today, I love that. It's cozy in here. I tend to sketch out roughly and then move the paint around as I'm working it. You want to get rid of hard edges. You don't really want hard edges on paintings. So it's just it all looks a bit flat like this at the moment, but we're just adding lighter colours on top of your darker areas here. You have to be careful because it can get too much paint on there. It gets a bit muddy and unmanageable, but sometimes I'll let this dry and then come back to it, but I'm quite happy just to splodge it on. Really thinking about the shape of the deer's face here, so, and where the light's coming from. Trying to get the form of the body. Obviously, he's got a big tum. He's been eating lots, and then we'll put some highlights on here. And you see what it looks like. Really, it's quite nice that you can play around. Don't want to go too orange. Wildlife art's been around longer than any other form of art, 50, 60,000 years or whatever. So this form of art, I think, is very important. It helps the plight of the animals and brings the awareness to the world of that particular subject you're painting. And you've got a lot of wildlife artists, animal artists around the planet, raising not just money, but raising awareness of the conservation issues that are facing us in the encroachment of the land of all these species that we're losing. So I think wildlife painting, it really does help that. And I like to think I'm doing my bit. I think the more we can paint these animals and get them out there and highlight the issues of conservation, the better. There we are, that's it. All finished. Hope you like it. I love him, and it totally reminds me of my day at Knepp Castle. And every time I look at him, it's going to remind me of that day, and that's the whole point of painting. There's a great amount of nostalgia attached to this painting, and I hope you like him as much as I do.